Okay, so the easiest way to explain this is to demonstrate it on the piano. Every interval has a certain kind of feeling to it, and value, if you will. The major scale is basically the basis for a lot of things, most things I would say, in Western music. So we're using the major scale as our basis. Okay, so it doesn't matter what key you're in; it's going to be the same. Okay, so first off, if that is our root, let's check out the minor second, basically, or minor 9, the flat 2, if you will. That wants so badly to go back down to the root. Right? So badly. It's a very strong pull. So if you're playing that note, you know where to go. It has to go back to 1. Right? Okay, let's do the second degree, or the 9. That is kind of suspended, right? Kind of happy, almost, something like that, right? Whereas the flat 9, remember, is quite dissonant and quite angry, horror movie, etc., whatever you want to call it. Flat 9 is probably the most dissonant of all the intervals, although that could be debatable. But, yeah, and then going into the flat 2, which you can hear the difference there, right? This is like almost suspended, but almost like hopeful, right? You're not sure what's going to happen. Right? Okay, let's go into the flat 3rd, or minor 3rd. Super sad, right? You want to start crying, basically, right? Super sad. It's also super bluesy. Right? So that's either bluesy or it's sad. It's minor, right? So that's basically what the minor 3rd is going to do, right? And that wants to go back down to 1 also. Right? So far we got flat 2, flat 9. It so strongly wants to go to that 1. It's so dissonant, right? And then we have the major 2nd. Also wants to go down to 1, but it's kind of like unstable yet kind of a nice feeling, right? If you want to end something if you want to end something unsettled but you want it to sound good, the 9 is a good note to choose, right? The flat 3rd is very sad and very minor, kind of bluesy. Right? You're gonna know what kind of mood you're looking for just by the different notes you want, right? So, okay, and then let's talk about the major 3rd. Okay, so major 3rd is super happy, super happy, right? It is very stable. Also, it doesn't necessarily want to go down to the root. It can, but it's kind of happy where it's at, right? Okay, let's do the 4th. So 4th is not very stable. It's very suspended, right? Not really sure where it wants to go, right? It's kind of also, but it's also kind of hopeful too. It's like looking to the future, right? Maybe. But it wants to go down to the 3rd, really, ultimately. It wants to go there, right? Okay, let's talk about the sharp 4 or the flat 5. Also one of the most dissonant intervals that you can have. That's just a super dissonant interval. However, it is also very useful in blues, right? Right? So, but if you want to add a lot of dissonance, that's the note to choose. Right? And then let's go to the fifth. So the fifth is probably the most stable note except for the root. The fifth is called the dominant for a reason. It's very dominant, very stable. And it also wants to resolve to the root, but it doesn't necessarily need to. It's proud, it's confident, right? Okay, let's talk about the flat six. That's also kind of like a horror movie, a little bit. Right? But it also wants to go down to the five. Right? Okay, let's talk about the major six. The major six also wants to go down to the five. But it's kind of happy, right? Like, right? Listen to that. It's really pretty happy. Okay, let's talk about the flat seven. That wants to go up to the root. But it's also kind of bluesy, right? Right? You can do that kind of sound. Talk about the major seven. Strong, strong pull up to the root, right? So with the flat seven, it wants to go to the root, but the major seven is even more. Right? You can hear that. So that's basically how you want to relate all of the notes. That's a way to kind of feel every single interval. So if you're playing through, you're going to notice all the different kind of intervals that you're going to hear in the song. So, for instance, let's take the song "Amazing Grace" in no particular key. So that's 5-1, right? And 5 kind of wants to resolve to 1. So we can see that resolution, right? A lot of the very strong resolutions in music are 5-1, right? Right? That's 5-1, basically. You hear that everywhere. So beginning of Amazing Grace, 5-1. So that was 3, 2, 1, 3. And then we're gonna go down to 2-1. And then 6-5. 2, 2, 3, 2, 5. Right? And then you're gonna go third to fifth. Third to fifth to root. Right? Now we're back in the root. 6, 5. 5, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So you can analyze all songs like this. The way it's relating to the root. And then basically you have a start on your vocabulary in this new language.